Howdy, peeps, and welcome to another episode of Talking Paranormal with the Old Man and his daughter. However, and his daughter is not here today. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, so I decided to go old school and go back to it was before we were doing the live broadcast or live podcast. So this is old school. It's just me, good or bad. It is a Sunday, August 24th. I got a new or a new a desktop on Friday, and of course, trying to because basically we're looking at doing the whole reaction video thingies probably on YouTube. So had to get a better lap or a better desktop that was a little bit more powerful than the ones I had before. The ones I had before were kind of crap. They weren't very good. So of course, as when you get a new anything, you have all this crap you have to deal with and trying to get stuff right. And I had everything worked pretty well except for my speakers. Couldn't get the damn things to work. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's not rocket science. Like I said before, I'm a techie guy. I know about technology and shit like that. Could not figure out how to get them to work. This was on Friday. I was up until like midnight trying to figure it out. I'm like, nah, I'm going to bed. So, long story short, they have a USB plug that goes into the back of the tower there for power. But then you had a 3.5 millimeter aux cord or aux plug, I should say, that would put the speaker working. Well, there was two plugs in the back, could not figure those goddamn things out. So there's a microphone or actually headphone port in the front. So, okay, whatever. Okay. So I enabled that, plugged them in, still wasn't getting sound. Like, what the hell is going on? This is bullshit. Well, I figured out what it was I had to enable the front. Excuse me, I'm all choked up about it. I'm freaking orange too. um, so I enabled that, and now it works. Now I got speakers that have sound coming out of them, so that's cool. So that's where I'm at. So hopefully, I was getting feedback on Friday, doing the testing of the soundboard, microphone stuff. I was getting feedback, so hopefully I got that fixed too. I don't hear it now. I think it was my fan. I have a small bladeless desk fan that I use, and I think that's what was causing the humming sound or feedback. So that's unplugged. So I think I'm okay actually. So this one's only going to be about a half an hour, 35 minutes compared to the ones that we had before. That was an hour and a half. Hopefully she'll be back here again a week from today. We do have next Saturday, I think it is, or maybe it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Anyways, in Charlotte, and if you're from the South, it's called Charlotte, but up here in the Midwest, it's Charlotte. They have a Festivals of Oddity, and it's basically a bunch of freaks and weirdos, which is right up our alley. That's our friends. They have all kinds of stuff. There's a town square there that has an old courthouse. They offer tours of the courthouse, which I don't do that. And then there's of course there's the food, of course, food trucks and things like that, cotton candy, ice cream, all that stuff. And then they have authors row that has book authors that are trying to sell books. And I have a excuse me, I know I have the freaking burps. I I'm an author. I have 6 books right now. Number 7, hopefully, is coming out here soon. Have not heard. I'm going to probably have to get with my publisher. But I feel funny. I feel funny sitting like at a table there and trying to push people, not push people, but trying to get people to buy my books. It's like I just feel weird about that. I don't know why. I feel weird, doing that. And I know I shouldn't. People do it all the freaking time. YouTube, subscribe, hit the smooch the like button, blah 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 blah. So I mean, you're supposed to be there to sell things, right? I don't feel comfortable selling things, so I don't. Plus it costs money, and I'm cheap. So yeah, plus you have to supply your own books, all that kind of stuff. So I don't do that, but they do have like cookies that have like killer or serial killers on them, pictures on them. They have all kinds of stuff, but it's expensive as hell. It's like they have this William Fuld uh, talking oracle, which was which it is the Ouija board, but it's like a precursor to. And they had one there for $65. Really bad shape. The actual box was like all tore up and whatever. I found one on freaking eBay. I got it for freaking $25, and it's in a lot better shape than what that one was. So the prices are kind of high, but they got t-shirts, and they got like you know anything you could possibly want. But again, the prices are kind of expensive. So that's going to be this. I think we're going on Saturday, a week from yesterday. So we'll be talking about that. And then there was some news that the 31st they're going to be doing an update on the Warren House. I'm assuming on the investigations, what's going to be investigated, the times, the prices, all that kind of stuff. It was supposed to be on the 13th, but nope, pushed back to the 31st. So that is on Sunday, I believe. Yeah, it is. It's on Sunday. So hopefully we'll have some news on that. So today, I just found out this morning that Jess wasn't going to partake in this podcast today. So I'm going to talk about the Durand, or if you're from there, Durand Union Station train depot. We were trying to get to this like 3 times ago, but we just don't ever get to it. So this podcast today is going to be just that. We're going to, or I'm going to be talking about our experiences there. Jesse had hers 2 weekends ago, I think it was. Jesse had hers, so that's that. So I'm not talking about that. So we did have a couple of other experiences there. The We have done fundraisers before with the train station. We probably won't be doing any again, just because of the politics involved there. Would love to. I love the building. The building is cool. It's just the politics, man. Politics suck really bad. Uh, yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. So, anyways, we have been to the train depot. Oh God, probably 5 or 6, 7 times. We did a couple of fundraisers there, which turned out pretty well because people are interested in the paranormal. So we have done some fundraisers, but mainly it has been just investigations as fundraisers. So, and our friend who I wouldn't I don't name people from our group, unless they say, hey, you can. So our friend who is a medium, we did an investigation there years ago, and the ladies restroom, which is right off the main ticket area when the depot was a train depot, when passengers came there and stuff, and the ladies restroom is active, no pun intended, but is active. And she said that she was sensing that a passenger had fallen ill on a train, and this is way before Amtrak. This is steam powered locomotives, I would assume, the passenger cars, blah 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 blah. So she said that one of the passengers had fallen ill on the train. It stopped at the train depot, and there was a ding, but I don't know what the hell that ding was. Was it my phone? Let's see. Oh yeah, it was my phone. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So, and she said that they brought her into the ladies' restroom, and they had. I mean, the restroom was kind of cool for being a restroom. You walked in, and there was like a sitting room area where they had like, like a small little couch, and then in one corner they had like a small table or desk. I'm assuming to put to freshen up whatever, and then you go into the doors, and then that's where the actual restrooms at. So I guess from what she said, they brought this woman who had fallen ill on the train and brought her into the ladies' restroom, put her on the couch, and she passed in the couch, not in the couch, on the couch in the ladies' restroom. So the ladies' restroom is active. There's been stories where the as you walked into the train depot, Union Station is the same thing. Turn to the left. That's now a gift shop. That used to be the cafeteria. So when you came in and you had a seat, or you're waiting for your train to come in, or you had time before the train left, you would go in there and have a snack or two. Well, one of our stories, the first time that we did our investigation there, they said that one of the volunteers at the train station, she used to work in the cafeteria area, which is now the gift shop, and she said that she would occasionally feel like she was being watched, and there was two doors, like swinging doors, that would go into the kitchen area, of the cafeteria, and then they'd bring the food out, to them. There was, a countertop and a couple of tables and things, things like that to eat at. And she said that she would sometimes see like a shadow on the other side of the swinging doors, which would have been the kitchen, walk, not constantly, but every so often she would see a figure walk past the window of that swinging doors, and she would go in there because there wasn't supposed to be anybody in there, and she would go into the old cafeteria or the old kitchen area, and there wasn't anyone there. So she wasn't for sure who that was, but she said that happened to her a couple of times. And then there was like an outbuilding directly to the west of the train depot. That's where they used to do baggage, people that were on the trains. They would check them in up front. A porter would come, take them out back, and if it was like a overnight or the train wasn't leaving for the following day, whatever, and they would bring the luggage into that area. And during World War, I think one and two, or maybe just two, they uh, our boys who were killed overseas in battle, they would be brought back here on their way home to wherever home was, and the coffins would be kept out there also until the train came to take them away. So that place is active. If you're and it's like you walk in, and again, it doesn't look the same as it did back in the day. Obviously, nothing does. Um, change is inevitable, and it's going to happen. Inevitable. That's what I was trying to think of. Inevitable. So change, will happen. So it doesn't look the same as it did, but if you go in there, there's like a big old, like a barn door that is on hinges that closes and opens. Really hard to open and close. And when you first walk in, there's like a little storage area. Then if you go straight ahead and then go straight ahead and turn to the right, there's stairs that go downstairs, and that's where the furnace is at, the heaters at, all that stuff is at. And we have had encounters there. We have had encounters where we've seen a shadow person, or I guess a shadow, I guess, but there wasn't anybody there that was casting the actual shadow. So that was kind of odd. And there's over in the corner by like some pipes, you get a feeling over there of like dread, like something happened over there, or there's just something over there. We haven't gotten anything on video or anything, concrete evidence wise, but it's just like a feeling that you have over there. And then of course we had the infamous, if you will, shadow person over there that we caught on video. It looked better on camera when it happened. It's like it's lost in translation. So when you're trying to see it on a computer, it's not the same as it was on the actual DVR when it happened. But we do have, and that's on our Facebook page for the podcast. That video is on there. That was a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the main, I guess the main experience that we had was our friend Jeff, rest in peace. He was the postmaster over there in the big city of Durand, and he had he had for a couple of years a Comic Con. It was the Railroad City Comic Con. And if I remember correctly, the first year that he had it, it was in the VFW Hall. He was a squid, a veteran of the first Gulf War, and they would we had them there. They were like most Comic Cons, but not as big, I guess. We didn't. He had some known people there, but not like well known people. Like I went to the Comic Con last year, and I saw Jen Taylor and Steve Downs, and I'm looking at their picture right now that I had with them, and they were the voice of Cortana and Master Chief on the Halo series. So we have purchased a helmet for Sam, our son, years ago when he was a kid, like 23 years ago when he was a kid, and I got that autographed. So I have it properly displayed under glass. So, but Jeff, I mean, he had people that people would know, like illustrators, whatever, but not anybody hugely huge. Well, after the first year at the VFW hall, he moved it to the train depot. The upstairs on the second floor, as you come up, if you go into the building, you go straight up the stairs. Then you're on the second floor. On the right hand side is a hallway, and that leads you to the attic, which is off limits to the general public. We've been in there before during our investigations, but that's off limits to the general public. To the left, if you go a couple of steps, well, maybe 25 feet, is an actual ballroom. That's where they used to have back in the day, events there, whatever. From my understanding, they turned them into offices at one time, but they took the offices out, which was a good choice if you want to ask me on that. And it was just a big open space. So we had tables there, and it was set up as like a horseshoe. So you had the horseshoe, of tables, and then the vendors, sat inside of the horseshoe, and the people on the outside could go around, buy books, buy comics, buy t-shirts, whatever. Well, we had a clear shot of the hallway going towards the attic. This is one of the Comic Cons. I don't remember which one it was there, but it was the Railroad City Comic Con that our friend had there. So like I said, you could look straight ahead and see all the way down the hallway, unobstructed view of the hallway down to the attic door. Well, during one of the Comic Cons, we were sitting in there, and we had a couple of people at our table, and that is a car going by. That's one of those loud cars going by in the city. You don't have that out in the country. I don't know if you heard it or not, but I could hear it. It was like a yeah, it wasn't made that way. Bad muffler. So I could see, like I said, down the hallway, and our friend who her husband used to be on the actual board there. She was a volunteer, or is I guess a volunteer at the train depot, and she was there along with Jeff. But Jeff was just walking around, and the people that were looking at our stuff, and all we had was like T-shirts. We had a couple of books, I believe. It was more to support Jeff. We don't really have anything for sale, per se. And after they had left, I'm sitting there talking, la 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 la, and not even out of the corner of my eye, but straight ahead, I see this short woman. She was dressed in a white shirt, like a white dress shirt, black pants, and black shoes. And I saw her come from out of one of the rooms on the left side of the hallway there on the second floor. She came out, turned to the left, and she was like right up against the wall. But she was like scurrying like really fast, like she was on a mission, and she was scurrying really fast. And she went into the other doors, or one of the other doors, and I'm like, oh God, that's odd. There isn't anybody up here. At least there shouldn't be no one there in the hallway, because those are just officers and stuff. So I told Brenda, I'm like, I'm going to get up and see who that was or where they went. So I I got up and walked where I saw the apparition, and there wasn't anyone there. I went into two of the offices that I saw her come out of or go into. And I'm like, nah, there isn't anybody here. So I came back. I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. I go, there isn't anybody here. That is really odd. I don't understand this. So, and I didn't think she was an apparition because she was like totally, she was solid, just like me or you. If we were walking down that hallway, that's who you would see. So our friend came over, and I'm like, dude, because I call everybody dude. I don't care who you are. I call you dude. I'm like, dude. I go, this is really freaking odd. I go, I just saw an apparition of a woman that came out of the first door to your left in the hallway, and she went out and she went down and then turned into the very far office, which is the actual boardroom, and she went in there. And she goes, and she started to, she like, looked at me like, what was she, what did she have on? And I'm like, well, she had on a white dress shirt, black pants and black shoes. And I go, and she was like scurrying really fast, that like she was in a hurry, and she was really short. And our friend started crying, and I'm like, not the first time I made a woman cry telling her that I saw something, not the last time that anyone's going to cry over this. She goes, that was my friend. She used to work here. She passed of cancer last year. And she goes, that was her job when she was alive. That was her job. Was she would bring food from that. She goes, that the area used to be like a kitchenette. And she goes, my friend would bring coffee, cookies, whenever, donuts, whatever, out from that little kitchenette area into the actual boardroom where the board members were having a meeting. And she would, you know, constantly just go from the cafeteria or the little kitchenette to the boardroom, which is about maybe 30, 35 feet, maybe 50 feet total away from the actual kitchenette. And she goes, that's what she would do. And I'm like, well, she's still doing it, which if you think about it, it kind of sucks that she's still doing this even after she has passed away. But some people, and I talked about this, I think a couple episodes ago, that it happens where people pass and they're still doing the work that they did when they were still alive. Okay, I'm going to adjust my microphone for a little bit. I think it dropped down just a little bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better to me. Let me adjust my split screen. Yeah, I like that better. So yeah, so I saw her friend who passed away, and I have not seen her since. And we have done a couple more fundraisers there, and have not seen her since. We did get an EVP. I'm not going to post it because you really can't tell what was being said. It was recorded by Charles, and his camera, I believe, if I remember correctly, was on the first floor in the ticket room, right as you come out of the ladies' restroom. If you were to go out of the ladies' restroom, turn to the right, and then turn to the right out of the corner there, that's where his camera was at. And I've tried to try to figure out what was being said, and the best I can possibly think of, or I can possibly figure out, was it was someone saying either they don't ask me, I don't know, or or was it I don't it might have been I don't know, they don't ask me. Either way, it was either they don't ask me, I don't know, or I don't know, they don't ask me. And a lot of times that's how EVPs are. And I have touched on this before. It's not like you hear on TV where it's a crystal clear freaking EVP. You can tell what's being said. No one else is talking, and it was clear as a bell. In our experiences, we've been doing this for a while. In our experiences, that's not how it goes. We have had a Gettysburg, a Devil's Den. I got a perfectly fine EVP that asks is a man's voice asking me, "Am I buried?" So yes, it is possible to have a clear EVP. Charles got one a couple years, well, years ago. We did an investigation, and the previous resident had passed away, and we were upstairs, if I remember correctly, and we were asking them, okay, she goes, I don't know where the previous owner is actually, buried at. I think it's the cemetery here in town, but she goes, I'm not really sure. And then Charles, again, he got an EVP saying, I am here. Crystal clear is a female's voice. I am here. So it is possible to get a crystal clear EVP, but most of the time, well, most of the time, it's a whisper. So it's not like this, it's more like this. Why? I don't know. So don't ask because I really don't know why. And sometimes you have two real people having a conversation and you can't really hear what's being said because the EVP is speaking under the conversation that is ongoing. And those are almost impossible to make out what's being said just because they are underneath people talking. So it's just, sometimes it is hard. But yeah, if I remember, the EVP either says, I don't know, they don't ask me, or it was, they don't ask me, I don't know. It was one of those two variations. Actually, I think I have it. I think I'll post it um, on our Facebook page. Like again, credit goes to Charles on this one, and I will put it out there. And hopefully, in a week, Jesse will be feeling better, so we can have our talking paranormal with the old man and his daughter. Hopefully, we'll have that. Um, so yeah, so I'll post that here shortly, and if you guys want to go ahead and play with it, listen to it, see if you can figure it out. By all means, if you guys do figure it out, let me know. And I think that's the only two things that we have gotten at the train depot. Now I know that there was some other group in there, and they by no means had a exclusive engagement. If you know what I mean, and we've had conversations about this before in the past too. Orange juice, freshly squeezed. Yeah, whatever. It's not freshly squeezed. I doubt that very seriously. So so hopefully, like I said, our daughter will be back with us a week from today, and we'll be have a live broadcast. We're still looking at doing the fan club, which we're still trying to figure out what's going to be what we're going to offer if we have the fan club and how much. This is all, like I said, this is all new to us. I've been doing the podcast since January. That was our first one, but haven't really had anything like experiences with this. So we're looking at that. Like I said, we're still looking at doing the reaction videos. It'll be paranormal videos. Uh, the idea is we're looking at doing me and Jesse doing reaction videos, and I'm sure that you've seen them on YouTube. And her husband, Dustin, he's going to be. If this works out, we're still in the planning stages. That's why I had to get a new computer because this is a little bit more powerful. Just to show you, my laptop and my other laptop and my other desktop are not Windows 11 compatible. No way in hell am I buying a new freaking laptop or a desktop. Well, I just did. Um, so the actual desktop that I have now, HP. I love HP. All of my laptops and my computers are HP. I love them. So this one was shipped with Windows 11 Pro. I'm happy with it. We have Windows 11 at work, so I'm a little bit familiar with how Windows 11 works. I don't really care for it. Give me 10 any day, but that's the way it is. So the idea is he's going to throw videos at us that we have not seen before. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but it could be cool. Could be a train wreck. We'll find out, I guess, pretty soon. We don't have a time frame for that, but as soon as we do, I will let you guys know. I'm kind of memorized by my keyboard and my mouse. they they change colors. They have like colors underneath. It's like, wow, pretty colors. And my speakers, the ones I finally got to work, those can change colors too, which I'm not really a big fan of the color thing, kind of thing. But this is kind of, kind of cool. I kind of like it. So again, if you're expecting to have a live broadcast of me and Jess, not this week. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, so she decided to bow out this week. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just go old school, do a podcast by myself. I'll do solo, and just since she's already talked about her experience at the train depot, I'm like, you know what? I'll talk about the train depot in general. Get that out of the way. That way it's done. Then I talk about it no more. And like I said, the Festival of Oddities is going to be this weekend in Charlotte. If you're in the South, Charlotte, but again up here it's Charlotte. So we'll talk about that. I might take some pictures of it, some and not maybe video too. Who the hell knows? I might have the urge. So basically, we'll talk about that. Hopefully, by the time the podcast is live a week from today, we'll have information on the Warren's house investigations, price, details, all that good stuff, because we don't have anything right now. It was supposed to be on the 13th, and maybe they're like dialectic or whatever it's called. They met the 31st, but they mixed the two numbers up and said the 13th. Possibility, we shall see. So we'll end the podcast. Then I can post and stuff. And I got things I got to do. I got to try to find our son's car keys in the family room someplace. So, and probably take a shower. I washed the car this morning. I'm a little bit sweaty. So, anyways, and not a good sweat either. So, anyways, again, as I always close, and I am looking at getting a intro, making an intro. I do have a little short clip that I'm going to do on our live podcast to uh, end the podcast, but I wasn't prepared. I was prepared to do it live, but not standalone. So I can't do that today. So I am working on getting like an intro done, a little fancier. The reason why I hadn't done it because, like I said, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy doing this. I do. I like it. I like it a lot. So time to make things a little bit more, fancy, I guess. So that's going to be, in progress. I'm going to have to ask Jess and her husband how to do it exactly because I'm not really for sure. I mean, I know I can record something, but I wonder if there's some other place that is a little bit more professional, type thing like that. So basically that's it. That's what's coming up. And again, so until I have the proper closing, I will close by saying what I usually do say. Until we meet again, thank you all for listening. Live, hopefully we're back in a week live again, so we can do our chat and stuff, questions and answers, and all that good stuff. And as always, stay away from the light. That's important. Stay away from the light, and you know what light I'm talking about. And until we meet again, which will hopefully be a week from today live. Bye bye.